Hey everyone, it's been a while. It's time spiraled back. We're actually here with the Grand Prix finals. We've got a test against Splashcat. It's been a while. I've been away on holiday, so I haven't had a chance to watch or commentate as many games as I've had. Just going to point out before we get started, we've got Engineer here is also doing a recording. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering their username again. I apologize. So definitely go give them a look if you're on the Discord. That way you'll get two sides, and maybe they'll spot things that I've missed, and vice versa. So we've got some interesting decks here. I'm a big fan of what these players are packing. They fought a long road to get here to the finals. We've got Splash running a. Actually, is this the mirror? Oh, you know what? Look at me, just kind of. I think this might just be the mirror. It's yeah, okay. It's the heart attack with simul. Yeah, all right, that's what I thought. Here we go. Um, so both players have some quite different hands, actually. Tess is already packing Simul here. She's a really fantastic Planeswalker. The important one is the +1 untap up to 2 target permanents. But you're going to see that other +1 has seen a lot of use during this GP. Getting these 1/1 colorless elementals out and getting a bit of extra loyalty can make a difference. And they really can gum up the board with the opponent's things. So both players are kind of looking to find some big win cons out here. We've got a Gate of Realms already here in Splashcat's hand. So Gate of Realms enters, you can search for a land card and put it into your hand. But the important thing here is you need 10 mana, you can tap it to deal 3 damage to any target, but it costs 1 less for each different name among lands you control. So if you can get a really, I don't know, decent board, even at 6, 7, and then you start producing a lot of mana with Heart of Zendini and stuff, you're going to have the ability to activate that Gate of Realms often. It doesn't have to go face. You can start clearing out your opponent's things if you need to before, going in for the kill. We've also got cards like Biohazard here in Splashcat's hand. Kind of a big sweep here that destroys all other non-land permanents with mana value X or less, and at the beginning of each end step, opponents lose life equal to the number of cards that they've drawn this turn, plus the number of spells they've cast this turn. So, kind of a gross little card here as well. Over on Test side, we've just been playing out some pretty similar stuff in terms of playing out some lands, some fetches in here on both ends. You might recognize quite a few of these if you've been following along the MSEM content. Test went and fetched to get a Portal Fracture here to counter the Prying Inquiry that's here, but I believe we're going to see a Cosmic Sinkhole come out and in turn counter the Portal Fracture, which is going to let Splashcat use Prying Inquiry to go look at Test's hand, and going to take one of those cards and then investigate as well. So keep an eye down here on the chat. We're going to see which card gets taken. Got a feeling Simul is kind of a good choice here. You can't hit any of the lands, so that, puts Corpse Bed out. Sinkhole, Exunt, Pithwilt are all counterspells and removal, and of course, the Inquiry of their own, you might want to get that instead to make sure that they can't, in turn, pull out one of your cards. Not 100% sure which card is going to get taken here. I could see one or two of them being the correct pick. Splashcat's just going to take the time to make the right pick. All right, what do we got? All right, still thinking. We'll take the time to look at the other cards in the hand while that happens. So, Prying Inquiry of his own. There's a Corpse Bed, which is a nice fetchable swamp that exiles up to 2 target cards from graveyards. It's a good little card. Sinkhole, we just saw get played, has breakpoints at 1, 3, and 5. Pithwilt as fantastic removal, and Exunt as creature removal. So Splash went for the Inquiry, and therefore knows the following information in Test hand, so doesn't know about the Corrupted Memory that just came in, which is unfortunate, of course, because Corrupted Memory is a discard, so that's exactly the kind of card that could see play to go and pull a card out of Splash's hand that maybe Splash didn't want to lose. Of course, without paying any of the glitch, it's only can hit non-creature, non-land with mana value 3 or less, but if you look in the hand, that's all there is. So Gate of Realms is going to get grabbed here. Corrupted Memory putting in a little work. I assume looking at the graveyard here, I'm wondering if we're going to see the... Yeah, okay, Corpse Bed's going to come in right now. No sense holding it off. Going to take 2 cards out of Splash's graveyard. Okay, yeah. Gate and Inquiry are going to get exiled. And then I believe we're going to be holding up blue for a Cosmic Sinkhole. Just in case we need to force spike a little bit. I apologize if the volume might be a little low today. My microphone has been having a few issues, but hopefully it's not too bad. If ever I see that the recording is too quiet, I will maybe not post the video. I'd like to, though, but we'll see. All right, Splash drew into Mastery of the Veil, one of the Heart Attack's finishers. You can pick X if X is 5 or greater. You can just pick the same mode more than once. So you usually go for each opponent loses 2 life and you just insta kill them. But all the other modes are quite nice. So yeah, there's a reason the deck is called Heart Attack. Shuffling up the hand a little bit, we've got 2 copies of Portal Fracture and Exunt here. Splash is passing the turn back. A lot of interaction on both sides. It's funny to see Exunts and Sinkholes and Fractures. Kind of both players just staring each other down. We'll see if... Well, I mean, not really sure if Test has anything to do here on the Splash's end step. Symbol does not have Flash, so I assume we're just going to get passed over. Yeah, here we go. Let's see what we draw. Grim Bastion as the 5th land. Life totals are also relatively even here. Test opting to play it out tapped, does not want to pay the 2 life, is perfectly happy leaving 4 mana open. A lot of answers to a lot of things here. We just drew into a Reconsider here in Splashcat's hand. It's kind of like Miscalculation, except... yeah, it's the one that we have. Yeah, and exactly as Tess said, it's going to be one of those matches. So it might end up erring a little bit on the long side, but these things happen. Splash probably looking for more lands, and Tess is currently building up enough lands, but, you know, Grim Bastion fetching out Flooded Morass. Up to 6 here. Again, running out of Simmel without the mana necessary to counter whatever's coming out means that if you pay 4... Oh. Okay. I'm assuming that's just going to be Portal Fracture, asking them to pay 2, and then they do. So then you do the other, either Portal Fracture or Reconsider. There you go. And Portal Fracture takes it out. So you spent 1 Simmel and you got 2 counterspells out of their hand. The one thing here is that Tess is now tapped out, which means Simmel can run out on Splashcat's side, top decking it here. And I'm going to assume... I mean, not that the creature would be horrible, but untapping 2 permanents would let you have access to your Exunt or your Reconsider during Test's turn, which might be more relevant than just having the 6 loyalty and +1. Okay, we went with the creatures. I guess if you know enough what's in the hand, you know that Exunt's not dealing with it. You know that Pithwilt can't deal with it easily because you need the 4 mana. You need the 4 colors. So it's a 3-color card, so it can easily hit non-land permanents with mana value 3 or less. But you do have to get that 4th if you want to hit something as big as Simmel. So maybe growing up like that was the correct choice if you weren't too worried about the removal coming here. The 1/1's also going to start putting in some pressure. Okay, well, Exunt is here, so willing to trade one of those for the 1/1. Simmel's going to do the plus... I know it looks like it's a +2 because it's +1, and then you put a loyalty on each Planeswalker, so yeah, it is a +2 here. And then Tess is just going to Exunt again. Alright. Drew into another one. Not looking amazing on Test side. I mean, there's a way to get the 4 colors of mana off of blue, white, green, black to get rid of a Simmel. So one of the things you can do is, yeah, so Reconsider is going to try and get cycled here. Tess is going to let that happen. So I guess, yeah, what you want to do is kind of combo off the Cosmic Sinkhole and the Pith Wilt. Splashcat's hand slowly growing here. We drew into a fetch land and we drew into a delve for treasures. This card can dig really deep when you have a lot of mana. You repeat the following process X times. It's reveal top 2, 1 to hand, 1 to the yard, right? So Simul managed to get all the way up to 8, so -7. Whenever you create a token, draw a card, and then create 3 4/4 green chimeras. It is to be noted that Simul was designed. Well, you know what? I'm looking at the thing. I think the Planeswalkers is Dravis's, but I believe that the card was designed by Test. I could be wrong. It could be a Dravis design, but it is kind of funny that this mirror match here in the finals, Test is facing down his own masterpiece, so to speak. I love these Chimera art tokens. I think this one looks just really cool and did a good job at kind of cropping out the wings since it doesn't actually have flying. So these 4/4s are going to put in some work. And of course, whenever a token is created, we're going to start drawing. So things like Prying Inquiry are going to investigate. Then you're also going to draw a card. There's a lot that's going to happen. So Exunt firing out first wants to get rid of at least one of the Chimeras, slow down the clock by a smidge, and then Pith Wilt is going to take out another Chimera, drastically reducing the clock. And Inquiry can only hit Cosmic Sinkhole. So yeah, 3 Exunts in the matchup is a little rough. Sideboards are going to be quite a bit different. So the clue gets made, and then because of the Simul emblem, we're also going to draw a card. All right, so just drawing into lands. Yeah, not looking great. I mean, there's some cards that could come out, could change things up, but this is a really big grip. This can also, Simul can start creating 1/1s again. We're kind of on a beatdown plan here, I would imagine. A lot of mana. I mean, we can also, do we just have the kill here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we untap, X would be greater than 5, but it would not be. Can we get 6? Did I say 8? 6, 7, 8. 6 times 2. Yeah. Okay. Blue and black. Untapping both. Then you tap everything. X equals 6. And that should be each opponent loses 12 life. All right. There we go. Yeah, I saw the amount of lands. I'm like, wait, we're actually like super close to. All right, so we're going to move to sideboards. I don't have a fantastic way of showing you what's in player sideboards, and there's... I could see if it's exactly the same. It looks similar, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go over here quickly to the deck editor. We're going to just load deck from the clipboard. So this is what we've got in sideboards. We've got cards like Celestial Banishment, notoriously good against Planeswalkers because you counter their activated ability, and then if it's a creature, enchantment, or planeswalker, it exiles it. So we could see Banishment coming in. Seal the Tomb can choose a card in a graveyard other than a basic land. It can get rid of a lot of things in this matchup that are quite good. Singularity's Grasp, nukes, artifacts, enchantments, creatures. Probably not what you're likely to see come in for this one. I would assume Stand Unassailable as well. Might not be ideal. The incidental, I mean, it's not incidental, but the reasonable life gain is decent, but I have a feeling that's not necessarily what's going to come in. I could be wrong. And then Trauma Spike is another Seal the Tomb like, where you pick a non-land card name and you shred your opponent's deck and hand and everything for those cards. For each card that was exiled from their hand this way, you discard a card. So if you got no cards in hand, it's not really a penalty. So things like Trauma Spike, Seal the Tomb, Celestial Banishment seem like correct picks. They're still deciding. I'm not super sure that Stand Unassailable is going to be the pick. The 7 life seems neat. I mean, it does require you to bring in a little more mana, but with, cards like Heart of Zadina able to generate a lot of mana, 7 life might just not be enough. We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what cards are being brought. Okay, well, so far I'm being proven correct. I'm seeing Celestial Banishment. I'm seeing Trauma Spike. Players are going to go and essentially try and take out their opponent's key pieces. Stuff like Symbol, stuff like Gate of Realms. This card has impressed me a lot. I absolutely love the design of it. And yeah, the ultimate is reachable and definitely puts out a lot of bodies. Didn't quite do the win last time, but you know, pretty solid. We're starting with basics, Wayfarer Shrine here. It's nice to see this version of it being used. This is one I made for a secret lair a while ago. I just thought it was really pretty to have like a ghostly shrine there. So just a very neat little art card. Let's see, cards that we haven't seen. In both hands, we're seeing stuff that we saw last match. Corpse Bed, Swamps, Sinkhole, Portal Fracture. Of course, feel free to just look at any card. Here, the pick of a Corpse Bed early with, you know, being fine, leaving up Sinkhole but not Fracture, or not doing an early inquiry. Anyway, you know, Tess had 2 lands untapped, I believe. Double Trauma Spike is interesting. Depth is going to be played out quickly, wants the 3 mana. Willing to just throw out this Trauma Spike. We're going to see this cracked for an island and then a Cosmic Sinkhole. We're even using the ETF basics, which is really nice here, to go alongside Symbol. So they all came out in the same deck. Lovely set Symbol, by the way. It's nice to see a symbol like that. And if you haven't seen Fianav's other set Symbol, they're really a really cool matching pair. I'm a huge fan of them. All right, Prying Inquiry here. Really a choice between, I guess, Gate of Realms, Trauma Spike. I don't think you take the Cosmic Sinkhole here. You're paying 2 and you're going to be not necessarily tapped out, because I believe a second land hasn't been played yet. So, I mean, you can play a Swamp or an Island, but not really that you have an answer for that. So, yeah, Trauma Spike taken out. Does not want to lose the win cons in their hand. Drawing to Celestial Banishment. So, yeah, we're seeing some similar cards on both players' side. All right, Gate of Realms being played. Did not have the 1 mana... sorry, I'm looking at a 1 mana Cosmic Sinkhole here, so... We've got Gate of Realms resolving and went and found Monument of Queens this time around. So Mock is a pretty decent creature land. It's a little expensive to grow, but you know, when you have a lot of mana, you can grow it pretty big. And the fact that it gains flying, lifelink, and a whole bunch of other keywords is pretty good. Cracking the Clue, leaving 2 mana open. You got Portal Fracture, you have Celestial Banishment available. 2 symbols in hand is nice. Test drawing into Intrepid. It's a 4/4 flyer for 3 as a vehicle. When it enters, it pulls off a Gate of Realms, so it'll search for a land card. And then if you have at least 4 differently named lands, you can animate it into a creature. Actually going to see a small nerf next month. You can expect it to become a 3/3. Going to be a slightly smaller clock, but also will die to a lot more removal. 4 toughness was a key breakpoint for the card. Alrighty. Gonna go pick up another land. Had the 2 mana anyway to counter. So there we go. Finding the Heart of Zadina here. Which again, for each land, differently named land you control, add 1 mana of that color. So very, very decent land. It came in Worlds Away, designed by Pikachu. What do we got over here? So Forest coming in. We've got cards like Recall Forgotten Aeons, which could maybe pull off another land, but I'm guessing we're just going to try for a symbol here. Does not have any backup, though. Portal Fracture, Celestial Banishment costs 2, but that's going to resolve. Cosmic Sinkhole only costing 1 means that, only taxing 1 means that we were ready for that. Going to +1 and untap 2 permanents, so now has the 3 mana. And then, are we immediately going to see a recall? Okay, but that's going to get Cosmic Sinkhole, I would assume. I know Flooded Depths has to get fetched. Okay, so it's going to be Flooded Morass. There we go. Cosmic Sinkhole. recall is down. It's still in the graveyard, which means that when we get to 7 mana, which we already technically are with a Simmel, that can just simply become a 5/6 with the same effect. I'm going to assume that Intrepid is going to go online this turn. It might be the sort of turn where Simmel can get punched by the boat. Maybe instead Tess just puts on pressure, but it doesn't necessarily know that Splash has another Simmel in hand, so it really depends what the line is. There's a lot of mana that can be generated, right? So you go 1, 2, 3 and tap, and you can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is not bad. 7, 8, so that's 8 mana to play with. Not quite enough for a double recall, but yeah, game's hard. There's a lot of little decisions to make. It's not super clear what the correct one is. You know, you could also filter all a 4 into Monument to get the missing point of damage. Gate of Realms is down to 4 and tap to deal 3 damage. A lot of things to do. I mean, we could see a recall and of Gate of Realms activation plus the Intrepid hit. I don't know. We'll see. Nothing new in hands for us to look at right now. I guess I'm just going to mouse over some of them that you may not... Okay. All right, we're going for the combat plan. So Intrepid's just going to go face. 4 damage there. Gate of Realms obviously does not have to be used here and would rather just keep, I guess, everything open. Gate of Realms can deal 3 damage. Celestial Banishment can actually just take care of Simmel. No need to throw everything in it if we're willing to hold it up and slow down a little bit. So maybe that is correct. Gonna wait for a Simmel activation and then Celestial Banishment. Gate of Realms can go face if it needs to. Yeah, just don't want to get that Portal Fractured because it does hard counter mana value 2 or less spells if you control 4 or more differently named lands, which is the case here. Okay, so in response, we're going to see Celestial Banishment, but this might be where Portal Fracture just comes in, and since Wanderlust is online. Yep. So the 2 lands are going to untap. And of course, that mana was just floated there, so didn't even have to tap additional lands. 5 mana to play with. Has a Celestial Banishment and Portal Fracture of their own. Portal Fracture playing really well here. Love the art. Alright, let's see. We're still in the main. Simmel has been activated, though, so we're not creating an elemental token here. Okay, we're going to go for a big delve. Tess only has 1 card in hand. X is going to be 3, so we're going to draw 3 cards, but it's going to be the 3 best cards of the lot. So Trauma Spike instead of Portal. Portal goes to the yard. What's really nice about Delve putting things in yard is if you're pulling cards like Recall Forgotten Aeons, it's fine for them to go to the yard. A choice between a second Trauma Spike or a Prying Inquiry. I'm going to go for the second Trauma Spike. And finally, Pithwilt and Celestial Banishment goes for the Pithwilt. Alright. Passes the turn, but Gate of Realms is going to throw 3 damage into Simmel's face. Alright. We knew that was at activation range, so that's not surprising. Drawing a second Intrepid. Now, they're legendary, so you can't exactly double up on them, thankfully. Gate of Realms, on the other hand, is not legendary. Feel free to drop as many Gate of Realms as you want onto the battlefield. So, Splash has got a big grip. A lot of cards, a lot of things that can be done. Can't get rid of a Intrepid on the board, but as a 3-cost, Pithwilt can. Celestial Banishment can take care of any Simmels that come in. Can't deal with artifacts, though. So that's something to keep in mind. Recall is going to get cast here. Test is going to draw 2, and we'll be able to drop an additional land. No lands, however. So does have the option of holding up Portal Fracture now, though. Or running out another Gate of Realms, though. I'm not sure that's, yeah. Intrepid's going to animate. It's going to take out Simmel. Another one in hand, though. Still would have been nice to get up to that -7 again. Test opting to keep that mana open. Can either 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we're still at 6 lands, so this is still 4. So no mana to use Gate of Realms, but Portal Fracture in hand is not nothing. Drew into another swamp. We're at 6 mana now. Good break point for things like Portal Fracture. This is not a 2 mana card, so you can land it. Resolves. Let's see if we go for the untap, which would give you Pithwilt or Banishment or Portal Fracture with mana needed to counter your own Portal Fracture. Yeah. We're going to untap Island and Forest. Alrighty. Tough decisions running into decks that have onboard removal, big beaters, and the counter spells. I mean, removal and issues can come from a lot of directions, so there is a decision about whether to try and run out a trauma spike, but you know, if they've got a Portal Fracture, they've got you. If they have, it's also 3 mana, so that is a Cosmic Sinkhole at 3 that you could do as well, so tough little pick. I'm sure Splash is thinking whether or not they want to try running one out like this. It's a good decision. Yeah, okay. We're passing the turn. Like, yes, you run out one of their Portal Fractures, but you don't get anything really out of it. Tess is drawing into some good stuff that's, like, you know, putting quite a bit of pressure on the board here. A few additional lands probably wouldn't hurt to get Heart even higher up, but, I mean, Prying Inquiry is good. I'm assuming Portal Fracture is going to take that one out. Not giving them a clue either, so Celestial Banishment can handle a few things. Alright, so yeah, Intrepid attacks, Pithwilt coming out, but I'm assuming we're going to see Portal Fracture. I mean, you want to keep your Intrepid that's already on the board and dealing with the Symbol alive, even though you have another one in hand, so to me that makes the most sense. So yeah, Portal Fracture, hard counter here on the Pithwilt. Even if Splash Head lands untapped, Symbol goes down to 1, but no mana for Gate of Realms to actually take it out. Okay, third Trauma Spike is interesting. Doesn't deal with what's on the board, unfortunately, right now. Alright, floating 2 mana, untapping those. It is nice to know, by the way, that it's untapped 2 permanents, up to 2 target permanents. It doesn't have to be lands. It will most often, but there's instances where, you know, there's something wrong with untapping other stuff. Is that a 6? Oh, okay, we're going for the Recall Forgotten Aeons from the graveyard. I think both players have at least 1 in the yard right now, so drawing 2 can put a land from their hand into play, and you get a 5/6 body. It doesn't have flying, but, you know, it's a big body. 2 Gate of Realms can take care of it. If ever the another land comes out, being able to have them be 3 and 3 or more. I mean, Intrepid can always fetch another one. The Gate of Realms can fetch another one. So there's possibilities there. All right. Intrepid of their own in Splashcat's hand. Lotus Barons being drawn. That's neat. Lotus Barons is one of our format's land-based land hate. So you can pay 2, tap, sack it. You destroy a non-basic land that opponent controls, and both players create a Lotus Spring, which is a gold land with no drawbacks, except for the fact that it's a token. So easy to use to get things like Heart of Zadina Monument out, while also fixing yourself, fixing your opponent, but you know. So there we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're at 7. Gate of Realms now costs 3 on the activation. Paying 4. No. 3. Okay, that's the heart. So we're going to add 7 mana of 1 color. I don't think the color is going to matter particularly here, but usually we use our little mana pips here to track. So this is maybe thinking about which color he wants to use. Okay, so blue. Blue goes up to 7. So you've got anywhere from 10 to 9 mana, depending on if you want to use Monument of Queens to do anything else. That's a lot. That's nice. All right, going to spend 4 of it to activate Monument of Queens. Might choose to not have it become a creature, but okay, it does, because it's a flyer. Spends the remaining mana on Gate of Realms. And now has a flying Intrepid and a Monument. So Monument can swing. Oh, interesting. Just the Monument. Okay. Chips in for 1, gains a life off of the lifelink. Monument goes back. What's neat about activating Monument is that because it gains Vigilance, it doesn't tap, right? Second Gate of Realms is going to come out. It's going to be the 8th land next turn, which means that they're only going to cost 2. Splash's life total is getting a little low. Recall doesn't have Trample, so Intrepid can definitely block 1, and then there's another Intrepid in hand. Yeah, it'll be some interesting stuff here. Picks up a Shifting Glade. One of our Plague lands that hasn't been played yet. Alright, picking up another Flooded Depths. Gonna crack the first one. Shifting Glade. Shifting Glade as well. I love the art on the original Shifting Glade. I've re-arted a lot of these cards through a lot of the custom master sets that we do every winter, but some of the original ones just, stand the test of time, as they say. Okay, so there's a hand with triple Trauma Spike, but 2 Gate of Realms and the Intrepid are already on the board. So, it's kind of like a little too late sort of feeling, right? Celestial Banishment also can't deal with them as artifacts. You can counter one of the activated abilities, but it's not a creature, an enchantment, or a planeswalker, right? So, okay. Yep. Intrepid jumping into the Recall Forgotten Aeons. Happy to soak up 5 damage. I mean, you can Trauma Spike for something else. It's just not going to deal with the Gate of Realms that are already on the board. Alright, Intrepid comes out. Gonna go find, could be a heart, could be a Lotus Barons of their own. Lotus Barons takes out the heart. I don't know, there's a few things that could be done, Hey, Lotus Barons it is. It goes from the stack to their hand and then plays the Lotus Barons. 2 cracks the Lotus Barons. Okay, that's also valid. You want to get rid of the Monument. So both players are going to get a Lotus Springs. We don't really have good land tokens in Canon Magic, by the way, which is why, these kind of look the way they do. I would love for a good land token frame to finally be put out or designed, but I'm not super good at designing those, so it will have to be somebody else than me. 3 mana here. Like, Celestial Banishment can still counter a Gate of Realms activation. It just can't remove it. It doesn't exile it. Throwing out a Trauma Spike could hit your opponent's Intrepids, or, can't hit lands, so it's not like Seal the Tomb that hits non-basics, but, okay, we're going to see Trauma Spike. Gonna wait to see if there's interaction. I believe Splash doesn't know that it's an Intrepid in the hand, so... Alright, so we're gonna pick out all the Masteries of the Veils. Definitely a way that, has to reveal their hand, though, I believe. Okay, reveals library, reveals hand. We can actually look at the sideboard stuff, see if I was right. Celestial Banishments... Oh, no, stand unassailable did come in. Okay, I guess the life gain is valuable enough that they're worth the inclusion. And that means that we didn't see Seal the Tombs then, which I guess makes sense. I guess you don't want to wait for that card to be in the graveyard. I just figured with some of the hand attack that the decks are packing, Seal isn't horrible, but I guess stand unassailable as big chunks of life and bodies you know, might be relevant enough. All right, big mana being tapped here again with Heart of Zadina. Spending a big chunk of it. Putting out their own Recall Forgotten Aeons. Drawing 2 Flooded Depths into play. I would assume. I mean, not that it really matters. You've only got the one land, and I don't believe... Yeah, Shifting Blade was played. So yeah, okay, good. I was wondering about that. Yeah, Flooded Depths coming in. That's going to pay the 2 life. More than happy to have that untapped. Now we're at quite a bit of lands. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 9 here. So these Gated Realms only cost 1 each to activate. And eventually they're going to be free. So probably as soon as next turn when Intrepid comes out. So, or did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, hold up. Oh no, they did pay. There we go. There we go. Okay, blue. So a 3/3 that says, "Hey, next turn I've got you unless you have something." Oh my gosh, just drawing into Trauma Spikes. They're great, but they're not, solving the problem on the board right now. I guess this is where stand unassailables are pretty decent at what they do. Extra 7 and then an extra 14 life per copy. We haven't seen Splash Cat's deck, so I can't confirm whether or not Splash Cat also brought them in, but... So a little bit of a pinch here. Banishment can definitely turn off one of the gates. You have your own Intrepid that can attack for 4. This Recall can't block, and the Recalls just kind of like, chump into each other. Puts Test at 11. I mean, Trauma Spike can go fishing for some other things. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana here. Now, that could be at least a Trauma Spike. Oh, apologies. That's like 2 Trauma Spikes and a Celestial, right? Do we have the triple blue? Yeah. Yeah, we do with Lotus Spring. But then again, Portal Fracture in hand, so... well, that won't matter anyway. Portal Fracture is a hard counter to Celestial Banishment, so... at that point, you don't need to leave that mana open. It's not looking great for Splash here, but like I said... It all depends on a few things. Alright, so Trauma Spiking for Simul. Yeah, normally you name, after the resolution. So no Simuls in hand. Simuls from the library exiled. We're going to see the library again, I would imagine. Will's Fractures, all the removal on this side. It's funny how few creatures are in this deck. Just the answer is like none. There's no creatures. Who needs creatures, right? Intrepid's a creature. All right, so Trauma Spike knows what's in the hand, right? So, okay, Portal Fracture. And with a 2 mana open and it being a 3 mana card, Portal Fracture can't... Yeah. So you know that Portal Fracture is going to get taken, so you might as well force Splash to pay 2. Okay. I guess that was a... I want to get that Portal Fracture out of your hand. I want the Celestial Banishment mana. I want to be able to use it against one of your Gate of the Realms buying me a turn. I guess that's what it was. So, which is totally valid. You don't pay the 2. Response to animation. Yeah, so we're going to counter the activation, I guess, with a Celestial Banishment of their own. That should not exile Intrepid, though. It just Counters the turn into a 4/4. Yeah, okay. Splash was ready for that one. Yeah. I mean, you did save 4 life. Not the greatest use, but like, it's fine. I mean, we're about to see a similar thing, right? We're going to see Celestial Banishment saying, hey, no Gate of Realms, please. So. Splash saying, I did not realize this until after sideboarding Animate Intrepid again. Very interesting. All right. Passing over, drew into another recall. I mean, one of the things you can do is go and get a Monument of Queens. Like, that's going to be a good backup here. Lotus Baron being tapped. Oh, this is actually, well, let's see. Is this going to be a... Oh, it's just being used for the recall. Okay. I was like, you don't really want to use Lotus Barons on anything. You're just going to give them a tap land. Draws 2. Cosmic Sinkhole is actually really important here. Because those 2 are going to tap for Celestial Banishment, and you'll be able to counter. This is a really good draw here. Double activation, Celestial Banishment, trying to stop one, and the Cosmic Sinkhole counters the Banishment. 6 damage to face. We are going on to game 3. I believe that's 1-1. At 45 minutes in. This is going to end up being a decently long match. That's fine. We didn't get a chance to see Splash's deck, and I didn't see anything beyond the Celestial Banishment brought in Trauma Spikes, so maybe Stand Unassailables didn't come in. But again, we saw, what, about 30-something cards out of their deck, so we will have to see. Again, a little reminder, we do have another participant here. We've got Angener here also doing a recording, so definitely keep an eye out for their vision of this GP finals. It is very rare that a mirror goes to the finals, especially one that I believe is card for card the exact list. Doing a quick check. They have different names though, which is really cute. They have different names up on the Grand Prix list. Splash Cats, it's called You May Be Entitled to Financial Compensation, which I think is really funny. And Test is just called Complications from Old Age. So, you know, they go hand in hand. I think that's absolutely funny. I love it when players do that. It's one of the nice things about, like, letting players just name their decks. They come up with goofy things. And then, of course, when we want to, like, categorize them, we actually say it's a this deck. But, you know, there's one that's like, this is a copy paste, you can go next, or Whack got a little wet, or Climbing the Mountain's Peak again. Like, there's some really interesting ones. All right, Splash is going to be on the play here in game 3. This is for all the money, as they say. Splash starting with a trio of lands. Both players are keeping. We've got Sinkholes, we've got Forgotten Eons, we've got Biohazard here in the opening hands. Over on Test side, we've got 2 Shrines, Swamps, Double Intrepid, Sinkhole, Memory. So we're going to start with that Swamp here. For an early Corrupted Memory. Can get pretty much anything out of the hand because it hits non-creatures with mana value 3 or less, which just so happens to be quite a few things. And if ever you need to, you can always glitch it up to ensure that you hit certain things. So Recall is going to go, denying the early draw and ramp. The fact that we're starting with Sinkholes and no, well, there is one Portal Fracture, I should say. So it's going to make this pretty interesting. 2 mana, not the best breakpoint for Cosmic Sinkhole. It used to be that Cosmic could be a counter 1, counter 2, counter 3, but this slight nerf means that it, you know, it's still a really good Force Spike, but, you know, it's got a lot of modality to it. People just generally use it for the first option, though. Drawing into a Mastery of the Veil here. We got a Wayfarer's Shrine that was played and passed back. Still haven't seen well, there's one. We still haven't seen Stand Unassailable and Splash Cat's deck, so maybe those didn't come in there. I'd be really interested in seeing if we're going to see those cards in. I love the art on Biohazard. Card name is cool. Card effect is great. Pipsqueak, designer of the set, absolutely knows what she's doing. So let's see. 2 Shrine Swamp, nothing cracked, which means you have a lot of flexibility. But obviously, you know, everything's open here, so you're not just going to run out, I think, Intrepids directly into it. I could be wrong. Okay, we're going to go for an early stand unassailable. We have the 1 mana to pay for 1 Cosmic Sinkhole, and if they want to pay 3 for it, we can Cosmic Sinkhole back if we need to. But Splashcat says, hey, I'm fine with you gaining 7 life. That is A-okay with me. Splash going to draw into a Celestial Banishment, but does not find a 4th land here. And Lotus Barons, until it's cracked, it does not tap for any color. So that makes things like Biohazard a little harder to pay. I believe Celestial Banishment, though, is already covered. So we're going to leave Sinkholes and Banishments up. We're not going to run out the Intrepid because of that 1 mana here. That's, you know, Sinkhole. Apologies. We're going to see a Corpse Bed come in. Going to take out the Recall Forgotten Aeons. That's actually pretty decent here. This is the sort of card that if you ever get to that late game, you know. Alright, we're going to use Lotus Barons. It does fix your opponent, but at the same time, you need that 3rd color as well. So I do understand the use of Lotus Springs here. Still on 3 lands. Not looking great for Splash. I mean, Sinkholes and Banishments can only go so far. Splash may be feeling the need to drop out that Intrepid, but I mean, against this deck, you know your opponent's hand, especially if they're untapped on your turn, it's got to be just full of counter spells and removal as well. So, and the fact that Tess is also packing 2 Intrepids is pretty decent here. Let's see. Okay, ran out the Biohazard. Saying, all right, I'm going to start, you know. Okay, it will enter. I mean, what's going to happen, I believe, is Celestial Banishment. Yeah. Is going to counter. It exiles it. Celestial Banishment not being able to hit like Intrepids and Gates, so you might as well use it on the Biohazard, I guess. Shrine being cracked, gonna go find the island. We're up to 5 lands here. Again, Splash is 3. Leaving 2 mana open means playing Intrepid is pretty safe, you know? You still have your 2 mana open for Portal Fracture or Cosmic Sinkhole if you need to, and you can start finding the lands that you need, such as Monument of Queens. And of course, you had a double, so you're fine. Passing it over, still no 4th land. This is pretty rough for Splash here. Prying Inquiry is okay, but you know, got a feeling that that's not something that's gonna fire off, but we'll see. The clue could be important, so maybe Fracture just says no. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Test is ahead. Test does not want Splash to be okay. Okay, we're gonna spend a Cosmic Sinkhole here. Tess is a great sport. I love playing against Tess. Tess is a fantastic player. Actually, I like playing against Splashcat too. These 2 players are very, very fun to play against. So spent 2 cards, managed to take out the other Sinkhole, so you know your opponent might not have anything left in hand. Of course, draws into a Portal Fracture as soon as I say it. But that clue on the board is not horrible. If you, again, fail to find a land, you can go and find it. Intrepid clocking in for 4. A good reason for why this thing is going down to 3 is it's just a little bit of slower turn and slower clock. So Intrepid, but Test, as we know, drew into a Portal Fracture, so this is a really rough game 3 here in the finals, just not finding that 4th land, the 5th land, what you really need to start playing out some of these cards and holding up the counter magic. Test can just keep clicking in with Intrepid and slowly growing the Monument of Queens up to 2. That's 6 damage. That means next turn, Splash has taken the hit, also gaining 2 life off the Monument of Queens. Alright. Splash still not drawing a land. Says, I think that's it. I am just behind. Tez got fairly lucky, drew into the right stuff, and yeah, Splash drew really rough on this game 3. But the previous matches, previous games were just absolutely fantastic, and they weren't as you'd often expect some tedium, but instead I found it was really nice to see two players just each lining down the barrel at each other, saying, "What do I need to do to get through?" All right. Players here are gonna have a little chat here. Splash saying it's the first time she had trouble with mana all GP. But that's going to be it. Tess is going to take this Grand Prix. I know we haven't had a chance to do a lot of GP or League matches on the channel for this month. As you know, I've been away on holiday and I am now starting work. I'm an elementary school teacher, so things are getting pretty busy here at the start of the school semester. But you can definitely expect for me to be recording League matches as of September 1st, as well as Grand Prix matches for the next one starting on the 7th. Oh, that's a good sign that says, hey, we should probably be going now. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this video, and take care. Hopefully you will enjoy what's to come.